Hello and greeting to all the people of the world. My name is Abbas Tamori. In the previous discussion, I gave you an introduction as why am I doing all these videotape recordings. Because essentially it is very hard for me to, with the little time that I have, and the age obviously, to sit down and write these books, which would be, what I want to do is very monumentally big, and I simply don't have the time. But at the same time I feel that I have to express what I have earned in the life. Might be useful to somebody. So today I would be starting the topic to talk about the philosophy. It seems to be the mother of all the subjects. Well, philosophy is a Greek word dating back probably about 500-600 years before Christianity, somewhere in Greece, that the so-called philosophy came about, and it simply means to like wisdom, which means really the knowledge, which means what we know as science. Every department of knowledge that we know those days at the time of antiquity would have been called philosophy, whether it's Aristotle or Plato or Socrates. They were all called philosophers. It means people who like knowledge, who like wisdom. Although this word is a Greek word, it does not limit us to think that philosophers, those who like wisdom and knowledge, they were only Greece, or that was the beginning of knowledge. Obviously not, because when we go to Egypt and we gaze upon those structures and pyramids, we can see there are a lot of knowledge, a lot of science, a lot of mathematics has been involved to create those monuments. And it's not limited to one part of the world. India, the Vedic area of India, it dates more than 5,000 years ago. Some say 12,000 years ago. And Manusmriti, the book that's available actually on the internet. So today the Greek philosophy is basically called continental philosophy, meaning it limits the continent of Europe. And they say it's broken down into all what we know as the science, whether it's mathematics or biology or statistics, sociology, psychology. So there's really no philosophy left. Basically, whatever cannot be categorized as knowledge or science right now, they just call it philosophy. Nowadays, philosophy has a different meaning because, as I said, if you take it as knowledge and wisdom, that's already ramified in many, many branches. Philosophy seems like a hobby, like something that scientifically it cannot be explained. But the truth of the matter is that by my observation, I can see 90% of our life we are using our philosophy, our own philosophy. We use our philosophy to raise our children. We use the philosophy, our own make philosophy, or maybe our religion, to marry, to even buy a car, buy a shirt, the design of the house. These things are not scientific matters. They're all nothing but philosophical deductions of thoughts. So, therefore, we do need philosophy, really. And we have to know philosophy which is the art of thinking, we have to know it very well. Because just for the sake of our children. I've seen many cases. I remember one friend of mine who is essentially an atheist man. He was studying Bible. And I told him that you and Bible. He says, yeah, I'm afraid of my children tomorrow. They grow up and they ask me questions and I do not know. Therefore, they might go and learn it from somebody else and I lose the link to my children. So I have to know these things, whether they're right or wrong. I have to be able to answer the question to my children. But today I'd like to give you a different definition of philosophy. To me, in my understanding, in my life, with all the books that I read, all the thoughts, I think essentially there are two types of philosophy. I would call it natural philosophy and divine philosophy, let's say. A natural philosophy would be the reconstruction of nature. There is some sort of a philosophy unknown to us. It's been used to make this nature. And we study that, study the structure of a tree, of a flower, of nature, of mountain, of sea, of water. And then we try to reconstruct it. We reconstruct the nature in a different way. We create a car, a Toyota, out of nature. This car does not exist in nature. This house here does not exist in nature. That TV doesn't exist in nature. However, it is in reality a reconstruction of nature because all the materials is borrowed from the nature and all the laws and the rules governing that structure TV or this house, it is in the nature. We capture those laws, we understand them and reconstruct it differently to fit our needs. Mankind at this point, I would say, of this civilization, like to make a lot of tools. Every time we have a problem, we just create a tool. We're cold, we create, a cooler. If we need heat, then we make a heater, fridge. We just make tools. We're tool makers. In contrast, let's say, to the native of Canada and native of North America, they decided not to make tools but adapt to the nature. They thought, why should they make so much tools? Rather, let's learn how to adapt to cold and to heat. So be a part of the nature. Their take of the life was different from us. We just decided to create more and more tools. And I'm not going to argue which way is better. I think the combination is the key. Always. Combination is the formula today. That is what made Canada and the United States and Australia. The combination of all the cultures and natures. The more we combine things, the better it becomes. So, the natural philosophy, in my opinion, is the reconstruction of the nature. The natural laws and the natural matter and substances are combined together. So anything pertains to the material, tangible things would be a natural philosophy. And it's very useful, it's not bad, it it teaches a lot of lessons, a lot of things. The other philosophy would be divine philosophy, which would be reconstructions of the religion of God, reconstructions of the book of God. Let's say Bible, which is not essentially the book of God, but the word of Jesus Christ is the word of God. Quran is directly the book of God. The religion of God, if it gets reconstructed, it creates different books. For example, Rumi in Iran is a great philosopher, which they use hikmat for philosophy, which meaning wisdom. He was a great hakim. or Sufi for that matter. So if we reconstruct the book of God and we take it as the raw material, the book of God as it is like the mountain. Nature can mislead us. If we simply go to the mountain and try to eat the soil as it is, we die. This nature could give us cure, could give us food, but also could give us poison if we do not know. To deal with it, we need knowledge, we need understanding. Same as with the book of God. If we just take it as it is, it will send us to astray. Quran clearly says this book is made to send you towards guidance and astray. You can go wrong reading this book, he says, and you could get guided. So Quran creates a criteria, and it says that this book is conditioned for those who are pious, virtuous. If you don't have virtue, if you're not a pious individual, do not read these books. Quran says that if you don't know what's wrong, don't come to me. All the religions of God are like that. To begin with, we should know what's wrong. Everyone should know a wall is crooked wall because it just needs to observe it. But then God says, if you know what's wrong and you don't know what's right, come to me. I will guide you. I will tell you what the guidance is, provided you know what's wrong. You have to have problem. You have to have